All right, I am here with Eric Dover. Eric and I met I played with your band Sextus for a brief moment. And I had been aware of you and your history with Jellyfish and Imperial Drag and Alice Cooper, Slash's Snake Pit. So, you kind of had that rock star cash of your reputation. But I found you to be such an incredible creative person, and I really appreciate you joining me because I want to discuss a little bit about, what makes you tick. I know you had a little bit of a musical journey before Jellyfish, and I saw there was a band called Love Bang and another band called The Extras. What kind of music were those bands, and what was your idea of your career at that moment when you were in those bands and kind of coming into your own?
Well, during the time of those two bands, it was all just pure struggle and trying to find out where you fit in the world. It was still quite early in the game for me.
Yeah,
Um, in terms of Love Bang, that was something that was truly a creative musical project. The Extras, not so much. That was more of a working kind of band, so that it wasn't really an original thing. But Love Bang was some friends of mine from college that we grew up together and started writing songs because we were in the music department.
right.
Um, and a friend of ours had got a gig at Ardent Studios in Memphis as an engineer. So on the downtime, which was usually like 2 a.m. or something like that in the morning,
Right.
uh, we were able to go in and record songs, and we eventually got a production deal with Ardent Studios out of it. And that was, I think, the first time that any kind of creativity had blossomed for any of us in at least in the recording sense, because it was a state of the art studio.
Did you have kind of
Uh,
a spirit animal band or style that you guys were pursuing at that point?
well, it's funny enough because I wound up joining Jellyfish, but we were roughly into the same kind of things. Uh, you know, just cleverly written pop songs. We were into Squeeze and Split Ends, and of course the Beatles, and um, so the songs. If you go back and listen to them, they're actually, I still stand behind them. Uh,
Nice.
we had a great collaboration and a great friendship, and some great songs came out of it. But
It wasn't,
Ardent Studios was also where Led Zeppelin 3, part of that was recorded, and uh, Big Star. I'm not
yeah,
sure if you're familiar, but
yep,
so there was a great legacy already in those walls. I think
yep.
I bumped into Greg Allman one day in the lounge and
Nice.
hung out and drank beer with Dickie Betts, and ZZ Top used to be in there all the time. That's where they did the Eliminator record, and
That's cool.
so it was a really musically fruitful and exciting time.
So take me back to when you were a child and you were discovering music and you were discovering that you not just enjoyed music, but you liked to make it. What would have been some songs early on that you first had memorized or that the lyrics were first, ingrained in your brain, where your parents might have turned and said, "Oh, this kid's got some, musical memory going on up there."
Well, I remember when I was 6 years old. I mean, I'd been listening to music since the time I was a toddler. It was
Yeah.
it was mom and dad's records. It was Neil Diamond live at the Troubadour and Engelbert Humperdinck and Tom Jones. And but I have an older sister, so she would buy 45s. So at about that time, I was listening to Let It Be and Hair, the musical,
Yeah.
um, and Alice Cooper and all this other stuff. But the first record that I actually asked my parents for, said I want this for Christmas, was probably Bob Dylan, um, uh, "Knocking on Heaven's Door." I mean, to me, when I
How did you
first
know
heard that,
well, how did you know that to even want it? Where did it come to you?
I listened to the radio and I asked my sister, I think, um, and I would hear it on the radio, and even though I was too young to really fully grasp the lyrics altogether, I knew it was a sad number, you know, and it made
Yeah.
me a little bit weepy, and it gave me this emotional feeling. And then, so they got that record for me. They also bought me The Streak by Ray Stevens.
Great.
I
Fastest thing
think the
on two
same
feet.
year, you know. So, um, but that was the first ones I consciously remember going, "Hey, I would like to have those records, please," you know.
Yeah. What other
And then from
songs from there in your childhood do you remember as being sad or wistful songs that gave you that emotion, even though you couldn't put your finger on what it was that made you feel like, wow, there's something deeper going on here?
Don McLean, American Pie,
Yep.
which we used to spin that one all the time, and that was a, you know, that took some commitment because the song
Yeah.
was so long. It occupied both sides of the 45, so you had to flip it over and listen to the other bit. But you know, those songs, and in like Cat Stevens, I remember really being into that, and Jim Croce, and singer songwriters from that era. Um,
Right.
so
Did you
yeah,
ever
I
were you
mean,
ever brought to tears by a song? Maybe not early, but maybe later.
yeah, I've been brought to tears by many songs, but they're kind of even some of mine, but um, or you know, at the very least, get some goosebumps.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
when you're a kid and you're hearing emotions that you don't understand, like I remember hearing my mom played the Roberta Flack "Killing Me Softly" album, and there's that beautiful Janis Ian song, Jesse, Jesse, come home. There's a hole in the bed. I didn't take that as some metaphorical thing. I pictured this hole in the bed that like would suck you down into it and keeping a light on the stairs. It was like the spookiest song. And now I listen to it and I'm like, oh, it's heartbreak, you know?
yeah,
Who knew?
yeah. Well,
So
that's the things you figure out when you're a kid. You know, you're getting in touch with feelings that are expressed that you've never even felt yet, but you know that there's something to it. You know, in
power of a
um,
song.
power of a song, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so the streak on the other flip side was ridiculous and funny and stuff like that. So you were finding both the sad and the happy songs. What other songs brought you the most joy when you were a kid? Like when you heard them, it was just like so much fun.
Uh, Good question, but you know, I really got into Elton John at a certain point,
Yeah,
um, and the Who, and I'm sure you were Elton John fan as well.
you know it.
Uh, but I always loved Island Girl. You know, when that came out uh, on the radio, I thought it was so fresh and happy sounding, and
Yeah,
I'd never heard steel drums before, and um, so that's a song that's kind of joyous even when I hear it today.
yeah. Do you,
Um,
so when you were young and you didn't know instruments yet, do you remember a certain album where a certain instrument, bass or guitar or something kind of stood out to you, or it kind of took your ear like, whoa, what is that?
yes, actually, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road was one of them, mainly because not only do you have the regular complement of bass, drums, guitar, and vocal, but you have piano, and then you had all these ARP 2600 and Moog
Yeah,
textures going on. And on another note, the Who's Tommy, the
yeah,
movie soundtrack. You see, and I'm one of those weird guys. I mean, I recognize that the Who's Tommy is a classic record, but I kind of still prefer listening to the movie soundtrack
that's all
just
right.
because of the just because of the music. Really, I mean, the way that
Yeah.
they dolled it up so much. You know, um,
So, where was movies and movie musicals a place where you discovered a lot, or were you able to watch films coming up, or were your parents like, "Nah, we're not going out to see movies," or
uh, you know, we would go out to see movies and things. I was never really prohibited from listening to or watching anything. You
that's
know,
cool.
um, they pretty much. I was a pretty dastardly middle child with a lot of ADHD. I was completely uncontrollable. So if there was something that kept me quiet and bemused long enough, they would just let, you know, leave him alone. You know.
Right.
So
So how did you discover kind of some of the more complex music that you got into, where it led to your understanding that the depth that, brought the songwriting in Jellyfish and later, brought you to that depth? At what point were you discovering, oh, wait, this is like songwriting. This is how chords move. I want to play or, work these, make something of my own.
probably around the age of 13, and I started playing guitar at 11.
All right.
Uh, but I had a really good friend of mine that he played as well. We both took guitar lessons from this old lady in my hometown, uh, named Corrine Williamson, and she taught like marching band instruments too, and she was responsible for kind of starting all the marching bands in the county. This She was really old when we were taking lessons, so we would learn, you know, Broadway musicals and standard jazz standards and gospel songs and all of this other stuff.
Cool.
So me and my friend, he was a bit of a miscreant like I was. So hey, let's start writing songs together. So obviously your first songs you ever write are about the school principal or something going on in your little sixth grade classroom or whatever. And
Yeah.
we just did that to amuse ourselves, really.
How much of
But that's
that?
where
Well, I was gonna say, how much of the the musical songs and gospel songs and stuff, how much of that sensibility came into your early songwriting? Because yeah, for me, like you said, Elton John, Billy Joel, some of my early songs sound like I was trying to write an Elton John song or trying to write a Billy Joel song. But having those kind of standards in your mind a little bit, did that lead you to utilizing that, or were you more kind of into rock and roll when you first kind of hit the guitar?
well, I didn't really know my ass from a hole in the ground in that sense. To me, music was just music, and
Yeah.
I think I think back then people weren't so hung up on specific genres. It's gotten a bit silly now to me. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still really all just music. I mean, even at my age now, I still feel the same way. But
Yeah. Well, would you
I
agree?
wanted to
Go,
I
go
wanted
ahead.
to rock,
Yeah,
obviously,
and still do.
and then just find the three chords that work, and then sing something over it. But
Um, you're known for certain, maybe rock music, right? What do you wish people knew you more for, or knew about you that they don't?
um, well, I don't know. It's hard to say, because I've put everything out there my entire career.
Yeah.
Um, so I think my work kind of speaks for itself. Um, but
You,
I do have a great love of all sorts of music, um, everything from world music to folk music. I mean, I just don't even bad music. Some of it I even like. You know,
so no, are there any guilty pleasures, or are they just pleasures and you have no guilt because if you like it, you like it?
I like it if I like it. If I find something that I think has some kind of value, I'm going to appreciate it in some way. Um,
What do you like that other people would call a guilty pleasure or would say like, "Oh my God, really?" And you're like, "I love this." What are you kidding?
uh, Probably a lot of things. Like, for example, I mean, this is a bad example, but it's just one example. The Shags
Yeah.
philosophy of the world record. I actually dig it. Um, or people with Frank Zappa record. Like I remember a lot of the girls in high school, I'd play Zappa for them. They got, "Ew, I don't like that." You know. Um, but there are those bands. I mean, I think even like mall rat bands like Mindless Self Indulgence. I think I remember liking a couple of their songs.
Yeah.
Because they were kind of smart asses and stuff.
That always
Um,
shines through when somebody's a smart ass, no matter what kind of music. It shines
yeah, that guy
through.
was sort of a Bugs Bunny character, and I was like, all right, I can go to Hot Topic. I can see myself kind of hearing a few of these, but it's all music at the end of the day.
It is. So you probably have listened to a lot of music, a lot of albums that have become favorites of yours or whatnot. What's an album that you love that generally doesn't have great production, but you love it nonetheless? Like either the production's dated or it's just not a great produced record, but you just love the music so much you can bypass that.
Oh gosh. Um, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily think that say the Kinks, some Kinks records, they don't sound that great. You know,
Yeah,
they're very kind of just rough and tumble, like, basic engineerings, and you can even hear inharmonic distortion, bad things
yeah,
on the tape or the, so um, that might be one. I didn't think Power Man sounded that good. There are a lot of records I don't think are probably mastered that well,
yeah.
including some of mine. Um, but if the song's good, I generally just let it slide. Like, I could listen to Algebra Suicide, which was probably recorded on a 4-track reel to reel, and it's not top of the line quality, but I like it.
Yeah.
Um,
And sometimes a record, if it's been with you since you were a teenager and didn't know it wasn't great production or whatever, it just has that nostalgia for you. So
yeah, it does.
on the flip side, what would be an album or two or a song or two that you would play on speakers to get a sense of how they sound, like your test tunes? Like you go into a new studio, you want to hear something familiar so you know how it sounds on those speakers. Do you have any go-tos?
Uh, Not really, and I probably should do that because I know a lot of people are like, you need a reference track if you're mixing your songs. But to me, it's like I'm sort of uh, coming up with my own blueprint for that stuff,
Yeah,
and that's just numbers crunching and learning about production and
right.
things of that sort. But
What
I think back in the old days when we used to go to play clubs and places like that, we would put on the Yes Big Generator record. Um, but I mean, you can always use a Steely Dan record.
right.
I mean, or some of that stuff is so amazingly hi-fi. I mean, even if you don't like the music, you're going to be like, this sounds good on any system.
Right. I remember
Um,
my first tour, the sound engineer would always use Tom Sawyer and Cruise Slut by Frank Zappa as his two songs to like tune the PA because he knew them. He trusted them, you know?
well, yeah, Cruise Slut is an amazing recording. A lot of Zappa recordings are really well done. Um, and
Yeah.
going back to things that I didn't think sounded that good that I still love,
Yeah.
I found the sound of the Dixie Dregs records a bit weird to me.
Yeah.
Always have, but I love them. You know,
Yes. The
I always thought Steve Morse's guitar sounded very strange in those days. Um, but I mean, I'm a massive fan. You
yeah.
know, so
And the guy's a great player. And you know, if you're a great player, the sound not being maybe the best sound ever, you overcome it by sheer talent. Um,
and I feel for people having to do this stuff because it's really taking AI or anything out of the situation. It's really hard work to make music.
yeah.
It doesn't matter what era that you've been doing it in, whether it was tape or ADATs or Pro Tools. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know.
People hear the finished product, they don't know the hours that goes into, cutting it and recording it and mixing it and overdubbing or whatever's happening, you know. Um, I think a lot of people do fix things, auto-tune things or whatnot, instead of trying to get it right. Obviously, back in the days before auto-tune, you sang it until you had it right. And you wouldn't necessarily go in the studio unless you could sing, you know?
Well, there
So,
was that. That was that thing called talent that kind of important to get in the door. But
right.
I digress.
As a piano player, an acoustic piano player, I feel like it's one of the last bastions that AI can't touch, you know? Come at me, bro.
It certainly can't, and you know, it can't even really. I mean, so far, at least with AI music, and I've got a lot of experience with it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, a real piano, and I have some great piano plugins here, but I mean, I know your piano sounds amazing because I've played it before.
Yeah.
Um, Recording something like that properly, there's nothing can touch it.
Yeah. And I hear piano, like I've recorded my own piano my whole life and been in studios recording piano. So there's a lot of ways people do it. Some way overdone. Sometimes just like a mono mic on the soundboard and a room mic gets the whole sound because ultimately piano is supposed to be one sound, not this huge bandwidth thing that can eat up the whole song, you know? If it's just piano and vocal, that's one thing. But if it's in a mix, I like a tight wedge to really keep it in a place. So it's like the piano's here, you know. Some
Right.
people they
There's that
go,
mono compatibility.
yeah, I love that. So
Yeah.
I want to go back to your teenage years, 13, when you're starting to get into your own emotions. What song at that time made you think of heartbreak that you actually understood it, whether it was you had a first crush or whatnot? What was a song or two that represented heartbreak to your teenage self?
A Man I'll Never Be by Boston.
Wow.
Man, I was so into that one when I was a kid because I had a girlfriend about 13 or 14, and we'd broken up. I was on the basketball team. I wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend, but I did. And
Okay.
I think she left me for one of my friends, and you know, she would play Boston, and I'd listen to that song, and I get all weepy and everything. But I mean, there's so many other songs too. Harmony by Elton John is
Oh,
another one.
so good.
Uh, I mean, that still puts goosebumps on me when I hear the cadence going out
Yeah,
of the way how that works. It just melts me every time.
beautiful.
Um, so that's a couple of them. I mean,
So
uh,
how about songs when you were in love with your girlfriend, when you're feeling what songs represented to you the opposite of heartbreak, when you're falling in love, or songs that really made you feel that, where the song connected with the emotion finally?
well, could it be I'm falling in love?
Yeah.
Uh, that's one. A lot of that AM Gold
Yeah.
uh, type pop music, I absolutely, is totally part of my DNA.
Yeah.
So I think I went to more of the AM Gold pop for the happy numbers, because as a typical teenager, I was slightly gothic and brooding and uh,
And yet
you
still
know,
listen to Bread, right? Like
oh, of course, yeah.
um
I'm never going to throw away my Bread records. I mean,
so in this era we talk about like love songs, heartbreak songs, sad songs. In the 70s, there was a lot of singer-songwriter and storytelling songs. What about spooky songs? Like I told you about that song Jesse spooked me out as a kid. What songs were gave you a spooky vibe when you were growing up?
Ode to Billy Joe uh, by Bobby Gentry would
Yeah.
probably be one of them. Um, and I think it's got some brilliant strings in it that
Yeah.
that kind of it's kind of a backdrop for this tension.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was a really spooky song.
One of mine was Angie Baby by Helen Reddy.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. Angie
The
Baby,
boy the
that is
boy
kind of creepy.
disappearing into the radio and everyone thinks she died except a crazy girl with a secret lover that keeps her satisfied. I'm getting goosebumps now. Like and
Absolutely.
people don't write spooky weird songs like that anymore. That's very rarely you'll hear a song like a modern song that attempts to do that. I use the term spooky, but there really is something creepy about a story, Ode to Billy Joe, where you just get wrapped up in it as a kid. You're just like, this is weird. Whether it's from not understanding it and not and taking it literally, or whether it's just a weird story. Actually, I
Or
think,
like The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia by Vicki Lawrence.
yeah,
That's another spooky number. Like, what happened? Why did the lights go out?
right, yeah. Like seeing the lights go out on Broadway, Billy Joel, like, what the hell is going on? Everything is going to hell. Um,
yeah,
But I think being
yeah,
creeped out as a kid is a unique feeling to hear a song where it's like weird, it's spooky, it's like a horror movie because you just don't understand it. Um,
yeah. It's wonderful. I mean, Don't Fear the Reaper every Halloween, man. I have to spin it. I love Blue Oyster Cult, so
Yeah.
they have so many great songs in their discography. But
What's a Blue
you
Oyster
know,
Cult song that for somebody that only knows the hits, you would say, oh, you got to hear?
well, I mean, you have to hear "Burning for You" because it's like a staple of. I mean, you've already heard it, I'm sure, because
Yeah.
it's just a staple of '80s rock radio. But it's also a very well written rock song.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
and so, yeah, I mean, I just find bands like that. I mean, they've been around forever and
Yeah.
went through different types of changes, but they always seem to deliver something that has some kind of value,
Is that
I
so?
think.
There's certain bands, I guess, if you know all of their records, you know more about them. But there's certain bands they only have a hit or two, and beyond the hits, there's actually a lot of great songs, but they just don't make it to radio or people don't discover them. One of the best examples for me is Pilot. I mean, Magic. We all grew up hearing Magic by Pilot, but they have so much other great music, just never reached us, and we never at that time listened beyond just the single.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a bit of a pity, isn't it? It's just kind of the way that the cookie crumbles.
It's there to be discovered now, and talking about it is bringing it out so people go, "Oh, I got to dig deep for Pilot." Yeah, "Don't Speak Loudly" and "Dear Artist." Oh my God, the song, the strings in that. There, there's a lot to dig for. So, what would be a song back in the day when you would only hear a song on the radio? What would be a song you'd sit at the radio and wait for it to come on?
Um,
Maybe even with a cassette player ready to tape it off the radio.
yes. Well, that would be two songs that I could think of.
All right.
One was, well, three actually. Okay, so I was really into Rapper's Delight when I first heard it. I was like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever." So I would call the local R&B soul station,
Yeah.
and try to request it. And I finally get through one day, and I'm like, "Hey, man, play Rapper's Delight." And the DJ goes, "Oh man, that song's tired," and hung up on me.
Oh.
And I used to call and request Anthony's song by Billy Joel because I loved Heart Attack, ack, 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 ack. I was a kid,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Uh, and then anytime I could hear "And the Cradle Will Rock" by Van Halen, I would absolutely turn it up. But I used to record the radio all the time.
Yeah.
Like we would drive the to Tuscaloosa, where the University of Alabama was growing up, and they had the college radio station there. So we were like 15. We would take our boom box and go tune in the radio college station because on Friday and Saturdays they would play heavy metal, all the Sunset Strip metal
Yeah.
stuff, Van Halen, and like you know people would be complaining and calling. You need to, I think they played Wasp,
Yeah.
Suck Like a Bee, and all the parents were going, "We can't have this for our kids." So that was an important rite of passage growing up was to be able to record the radio at all times or have it close by.
Right. What's some music that you dismissed or hated as a kid that now you love?
Two instances of that, and they're very funny.
Good.
The, and they both took place on SNL. So,
Okay.
mind you, I'm still maybe 13, 12, 13, and Devo came out and played Jocko Homo. And I remember getting like physically ill. Like I wanted to vomit. Like I was like, what is this? It was like the Eddie Murphy joke. This ain't no McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't know what this is about, but I don't care for it. And then Kate Bush, funny enough, doing Rolling the Ball. I was like, who's this broad? Um, and now, I think by the time I got in high school or by the time they released Whip It,
Yeah.
Devo, I was like all on board. It didn't take me very long to catch on. And really about the same with Kate Bush. Once I got into high school, I went through a massive Kate Bush phase where I got Hounds of Love for Christmas when it came out, and it was like,
Nice.
well, that's my Christmas record. It's still kind of a Christmas record to me to this day, but
Yeah.
now I love them both, you know.
So back when you started going to concerts, um, were you a kid that got dropped off at concerts by your parents before you could drive, or was it really when you could drive or had friends that drove that you could finally attend concerts?
I went when when my friends got their, I mean, we didn't even bother with our license. We had our permits, I think, and we were driving to shows. I mean, it was a bit, a different time back then. I was driving when I was 13,
Wow.
basically,
What was your closest
illegally, of
ven
course,
what was your closest venue to see shows big and small?
an hour away. So,
Arena kind of thing?
yeah, it was the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center, and it sounded like a bathtub, but
Yeah.
I saw so many shows there. There was another Boutwell Auditorium in Birmingham, which very nice sounding venue. So obviously all my early concerts there.
What's the first show you saw by a band that you really knew the music well, so you were going to like with this all the songs you're ready to hear?
Oh, that was Kiss, like everybody our age, I think.
Yep.
1979 Dynasty Tour.
Nice. Full makeup,
Yeah,
explosions and spit and blood and the whole nine yards.
yeah, it
That'll
was it was pure heaven.
that'll leave a
You know,
mark.
yeah, it will.
What's a band that you went and saw and they were far better than you thought they were going to be?
Man, then I saw that.
You were like expecting it was going to be good, but it just floored you.
Oh, okay. I know. Um, Billy Squire opening for Foreigner on the Foreigner 4 tour. Um,
Nice.
I loved both of them, but I went into it not knowing anything about Billy Squire, and he absolutely tore the roof off of the place. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, and Foreigner, of course, needs no introduction. They were great too, but I almost nodded off a little bit during Foreigner 4 because I'm not a really big, I want to know what this. I mean, I'm just, I'd rather hear the edgier stuff. But
Head games and whatnot.
yeah, but Billy Squire, man, was just on all four cylinders when he came out, killing it.
He needs to come back out and do one more tour. I mean, I think like his music still holds up and all those hits. And I think after the Rock Me Tonight video, he kind of pulled back and never really. I mean, I know he did tours after that, but I think he felt that was like a big hit to his career. But the songs, I'd go see Billy Squire in a heartbeat. I
Rock Me
mean,
Tonight's a fantastic song.
agreed.
What is one pink shirt ruin the whole thing? I don't get it.
I don't either.
But
But that's it. People take things and they run with it, and then everybody's opinion kind of jumps on the bandwagon. Like I just did a podcast talking about one of my all-time favorite movies, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and soundtrack, which was totally maligned. Everybody said it ruined the Bee Gees, ruined Peter Frampton, ruined everybody. Meanwhile, the very next year, the Bee Gees come out with Spirits Having Flown. They got Too Much Heaven. They got Tragedy. They got Love You Inside and Out. I mean, this was not a band on the decline, you know. But you
not
know,
at all.
that for me is an album that I love. I will proselytize about. I will stand for its honor anytime. Um, sometimes again, it's like you're just coming to the honor of music that you love because you love it, not because it's of any other reason. It's just like stop maligning this amazing record. Stop. This is my child. um,
Right.
what band have you seen the most live in concert?
Hmm. Alice Cooper.
Just from being a part of it.
Yeah. That would. I can't say that I didn't really follow anyone around and like go to too many multiple shows. I mean, I've seen Van Halen a few times during the day, but my whole focus was always on the experience of trying to see everybody at least once.
Yeah.
You know,
Was there anybody you
um,
missed that you just couldn't get to and you sadly can't see anymore?
Don Rickles was very
Oh,
sad. He passed away. It was at the Canyon Club, and I was
yeah.
gonna go see him finally. and he passed away. But no, I got to see James Brown, seen Prince. Um, so I can't say that there's too many people that I've missed, but
Has there
I'm
been
sure
any?
I'd think of somebody.
Is there anybody that you saw that was a utter disappointment, and you were just like, oh man, why did I have to see that?
Um, well, maybe, but
We don't want to speak badly of anybody, but say a bad show is a bad show. You've probably seen a
well,
bad show by a band you love. It happens.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and I won't name any names. I just think that, and it really kind of pertains to even today. Uh, when music becomes entertainment and just too entertainment based, then I'm like kind of checking out, you know. And I think there are some bands that are guilty of that from every era.
Do you think
Um,
there's any bands that, let's say at least 30 years into their career, still put out crucial music? Any bands that past their early years where, it's generally regarded as their classic period, still 20, 30, 40 years later, put out music that you would, find crucial or add to a playlist?
Absolutely. Um, the the greatest example that I can think of with somebody like that would be Wire or Sparks. Um, I love both of those bands very intimately, and I heard the new Wire. Wire had been they put out a record a few years ago, and they're still just as good uh, as as I remember them. You know, it's
Yeah.
very art rock to be sure, but once you get into that headspace and you acquire a taste for it, you know, nothing really replaces it. And I think they're what in their early 70s, but
Yeah.
their music still sounds amazing. You know,
There's something
age
about
is not a
that.
factor.
No. But you would agree that there's certain years in the past where so many critical, like amazing albums came out. Like 1971 is a year that's referred to as one of the greatest years of music. All the albums that came out that year. What would be another year that you would point to as being an amazing year for a whole bunch of releases that are just they lined up?
I've always been partial to 1979.
What was it
Uh,
about 79?
well, because things like Blondie and you know, punk starting to kind of come in. Um, I was never a huge fan of disco. Um, you know, I like my pop rock songs. You know, my
Yeah.
David Essex and
Yeah.
Elton John and Billy Joel, but uh, disco sort of like sidetracked their everything, and then so all these cool bands, you know, seem to start. I mean, Wire was formed in '77.
Right.
Television, Marquee Moon, the Talking Heads. I mean, just a whole new way of of Devo,
Yeah.
whole new way of coming about with new sounds.
The
Just
Cars.
you know, 1979 is your year there. I'd say from like 79 to 1982 were pretty awesome years.
Amazing.
Then after that, the commercialization of the decade kind of kicked in, and
Yeah.
you know,
It was tricky. And then you had, the switch over to the alt rock and grunge in the 90s. And, people don't understand that. And I'll bring this band up. Certain bands there's kind of a before them and an after them. I think Jane's Addiction doesn't get the credit for which they're due, but they were playing the rock scene like 85 or 6 at the time when Bon Jovi and David Lee Roth and the big hair stuff was going on. They were this weird little band that you never would have thought was going to be as important as they are. But I think they're a band, maybe like Alice in Chains, that so many bands were influenced by them afterwards that they became more of a touchstone and an influence than people saw. Black Sabbath is another one. In their day, it wasn't regarded as the godfathers of heavy metal, but you get enough decades past and everybody loves Black Sabbath, you know?
right.
Are
And
there,
I mean, Jane's Addiction hugely influential on me because I really, you know, the commercialization of the '80s, it really got silly, and it got kind of not dangerous. And I always craved danger in my rock music, you know. So when Nothing Shocking came out, I was like, yeah, baby, you know.
Did you see them early on, Jane's Addiction?
I've never seen them.
Ah,
I'm good friends with Stephen Perkins, as you know, but
yeah.
um,
You may never
never
see them
had the
again.
opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I hear that they kiss and made up, so I'm hoping for something good to come
maybe.
from them.
So I'll tell you a quick story. I was living on Miami Beach, and Iggy Pop was coming to play a place called the Cameo Theater, which was this cool little theater that a lot of bands played amidst all of the other stuff on Miami Beach. And I was walking home from the beach, and the side doors were open, and I heard some guitar playing. So I just wandered in my flip flops and towel, and I watched Jane's Addiction sound check, just standing there in the middle of the Cameo. And I was like, wow, that was cool. I'd never heard of them, didn't understand or know. And I went home. I didn't even have tickets to the show that night. So I saw Jane's Addiction sound check opening for Iggy Pop, but never
That's
actually saw the
awesome.
show. These things
Yeah.
happen. But or do you think there's other bands that are more important as an influence than people give them credit for?
Well, uh, certainly there are. You know, a lot of bands. Some bands are going to get all the attention,
Yeah,
uh, but it's always been being aware of all of that, the mainstream and the chart toppers. I mean, I've always been aware of all those things and listened to all that and loved some of it.
yep,
But I've always kind of like looking around in the cracks to see what else is there because familiarity breeds contempt in my world. I just there's only so many times that I can hear even some Beatles songs. I just
right,
frankly um, where but at the same time like I grew up being aware of Rush, but I was never a huge Rush fan, and I'm a fan. I'm
right,
I'm not like musiciany fan, but I like them a lot. So when Tom Sawyer comes on the radio, I'm never going to turn it off. You
right.
know, um,
So here's a question for you. What's your least favorite song by one of your favorite bands? A band you love almost everything they do, but that one song, man.
you know, this has come up in the last year or so with me. There are bands that you you grew up thinking were infallible,
Yeah.
and then you start going back and listening, and you're like, that's not a very good song, is it?
Yeah.
Um, and for me, I'll go ahead and piss everybody off. Uh, there's some Beatles songs don't care for. There's some XTC songs I don't care for. You're just gonna have to deal with it. I don't know if I'm gonna call out the songs
Right.
though. I just because I still hold them in such reverence.
Right.
But I mean, even the greatest geniuses can kind of make some clunky stuff,
Well, and
So
sometimes there's even a hit. Maybe it's oversaturation, but like I don't. I skip Rock and Roll by Zeppelin. I skip Tie Your Mother Down by Queen. There's a couple songs I'm just like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I'd rather go for that song or that song. I generally fall off with Rush after Power Windows, and I'm a huge Rush fan. But there's certain stuff that just speaks to me, and I think with the Beatles, they had so many great songs. They're bound to have a couple that are okay or that just don't strike you. I mean, Van Halen and Led Zeppelin were bands that every record pretty much was stacked. But then, you might not dig Hot Dog or, you know,
exactly, yeah. I mean, I try to be forgiving of the people that whose music I love.
yeah.
They're going to go off in a direction I don't understand sometimes. It doesn't mean I don't totally respect and love them because obviously we both know how hard it is to
Oh, yeah.
continue to make music and to say something. You know,
Yeah. I mean, I
um,
love certain artists, the songs that I love by them, I love so much that they're ingrained in me forever. And there's albums worth of songs that I don't care about, and it might be because they took a lot of chances and it was just hit or miss, but I probably gravitate to the same 12 or 15 David Bowie songs or Prince songs. And I'll go and dig in places where I haven't before and I might find something, but I generally come back to, um, what I feel is the strongest stuff for me. And other people say, wait, but didn't you listen to Diamonds and Pearls? Or wait, but that, Earthling record. And I'll go, okay, I got to revisit that. It's been a while. Maybe I'll hear it with fresh ears or whatnot. Are there artists like that for you where you love like a handful of tunes and the rest is kind of
Billions of people like that,
yeah.
really.
The
Um,
the
but
Cars had a whole bunch of great songs and then a lot of other stuff. Jackson Brown, you go through his records, it's like one or two tunes. James Taylor had hit their greatest hits is great, but they took a lot of time getting to that of trying different songs out, and it's
yeah,
just
they
just my
did.
opinion.
No, I mean, that's the great thing about music too. It's the capsule aspect of it is such that even if you don't understand something, you can put it away for a while and then come back to it with fresh ears or a fresh attitude or whatever, and then it'll speak to you, tell you the secrets that it
Right.
harbored.
Or
Um,
reveal that it was exactly what you thought. And you're like, yeah, this is not getting any better.
yeah, like, see, I don't know if I have great taste or no taste at all,
Oh, you have
because
great taste. You you,
when I
you
when I
would
was
you wouldn't be the musician you are. You wouldn't make the music you do if you didn't have great taste. You really do. For
well,
what
thank you.
it's worth.
I just try to do it as honestly as possible.
Did you have a favorite band growing up that now is no longer your favorite band? It's still one of your favorites, but did you have one that was like top and then now it's kind of receded a little bit?
I never really had a top band. I mean, there was a time when I was, you know, flower of youth, cranking my Van Halen records and Dokken, but at the
Yeah.
same time I was turned on to the Police and Thomas Dolby and new wave records.
Yeah.
I always just tried to keep it very broad because I would get bored really easily.
Yeah.
And then I even in high school turned on to classical and flamenco music.
Nice.
So I studied classical for a few years, but didn't have the patience. There's too many young girls running around, and I wanted to play rock and roll, and it was a mess. But
It happens. What that's some of what you get into music for. There's girls, there's activity, there's, excitement. Um,
yeah,
Turning to lyrics for a moment, who in your mind are some of the greatest lyricists that there's people that are super known, Bob Dylan, but are there people that you go to for lyricists that you think are not as well known or as well regarded and their work is just incredible?
uh, well, yeah, there's probably several. Um, Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but uh, for example, I just mentioned Thomas Dolby.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think there's a bad lyric on those first two records. They're the lyrics and the music is it's a perfect coupling of what I want to hear in music. You know, I think he's kind of underrated in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
about
again,
his later work, but
people know like, the couple of songs, Blind Me with Science and One of Our Submarines, but they might not know anything deeper. Again, an artist where they just have that one critical zeitgeist song, but there's much more there, whereas maybe a Men Without Hats, there's not.
yeah, men without hats or the lilac time. You might be pushing it there, but
To
um,
get deeper.
yeah, there's a special quality to what he was writing at that time that inspired me greatly, and also Prince.
Yeah.
But there's also for Prince, he was so prodigious in output. Uh, some of his some of his work after a certain point didn't hit me as hard,
Yeah.
but the Sign of the Times record is another great song of lyrics. But people know about him. People know about Joni Mitchell.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that is a good question.
I guess it hits everybody differently, but people would generally regard, Neil Peart from Rush, different people as great lyricists. They said a lot. It was a lot more than just words. It was philosophy, teachings. I don't know what. I think some people, it's like a fine line to not be preachy, but be able to put some depth into lyrics. And there's always going to be room for party rock anthems and fun stuff, but there's also room for a lot of depth in music. Is there music that you listen to that you would describe as intellectual? Like, whereas like it's got that rarefied air of being a little too deep.
Oh, hmm. Well, there probably is. And you're right. I don't like the preachy thing either. I want to be seduced.
Yes.
So if somebody's singing about quantum physics, you know, they're still gonna have to seduce me into buying into it.
Right.
Um, but when something's overly intellectual, or usually it degenerates into purple prose, and you're just
Yeah.
like, I just don't dig this style at all.
Right.
Um, but yeah, the reason I can't really name anything is because I've instantly turned something like that off. I hate to say it, but
I gotcha. What I'm gonna ask you a couple random questions. What's a singer that you think was great but deserved better material?
hmm.
Like just
Graham Bonnet.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you got to remember when he started out, he was kind of just a pop singer. Um, and I'm not saying that anything he did with Alcatraz or anything. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he did have, or still, he has a pretty iconic rock voice
Yeah.
uh, that I wish he could have found material that uh, could have facilitated more from him.
Yeah. It's like a
Um,
it's like a quarterback without the right football team.
but I mean, people bag on Deep Purple for going commercial, by doing the Russ Ballard song. But that's Graham singing on it,
Yeah.
and it's kind of one of my favorite Deep Purple songs, to be honest with you. I like it better than Smoke on the Water, just because it's so poppy.
Yeah.
Since you've been gone,
Yeah. Great. I mean, look, a lot of bands, turn to guys like Russ Ballard or Desmond Child, and they wanted radio hits. I think didn't
right?
Alice Cooper, I believe, wrote with some people like that. Uh,
Yes, he definitely did.
um, so I wanted to wrap up with what's one of the worst things you've ever seen happen on stage at a concert, whether you were in the concert or you were in the audience,
Worst things.
just like an accident, a mishap, something going wrong.
Uh, oh well, there's plenty of them. I'm just trying to catalog them. Um, well, I did have a bad experience in Brazil once, in Rio, when I was playing with Slash, and I think it was the last night of wrapping up the tour in Brazil. We were playing this big theater somewhere, and I used to run around and do all these shenanigans and whatnot. And I, at one point, had taken the microphone stand, and I, came down and slammed it on the stage floor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever, I'm rocking. I'm up there, like people going nuts. We get off stage, and the police show up, and they're like, "We're going to be taking you to jail." And I'm like, "What? What the hell went on?" And what had happened, see, was when I pulled that mic stand down, it was one of those bass mic stands, but it
Yeah.
was made out of this really cheap pot metal or something. So when I did that, the base of the mic stand exploded into all this shrapnel
Oh my
that
gosh.
went into the audience, and it hit this poor kid like in the head somewhere. I could have killed him,
Oh my
but I had
gosh.
no idea. This guy's bleeding and stuff, and the police are like, "Yeah, we're gonna take you to the pokey, to the hooskow." They don't call it that there, but
Right.
we somehow smoothed that over and took care of it. And the guy was gracious. Poor guy. I didn't mean to do it. It was a
Yeah, of
total
course.
accident, but
Yeah.
it was pretty bad. The gore, and and realizing that I'd hurt somebody without, without meaning to. So
Of course, you're not a guy that wants to inflict pain on others. I get that from your heart.
no, I'm not a Gigi Allen sort of guy.
No, that guy. So let me wrap up with a question. If you could go back to your youth and tell yourself one piece of advice, now whether you'd listen or not, that's a different story. But if Eric Dover of the future came back to your 13-year-old self, let's say, said, "Look, just trust me on this." What's one thing that you could have given as far as advice that would have made a more positive change in your direction or saved you some hassle?
well, I think that's pretty easily answered. Would be for me if I went back, I would have to tell myself, and I probably did tell myself this, or somebody did back then, was to master your emotions. You know, um, I was very impulsive. I had a very impulsive nature. If it was there, I would go do it. If a girl gave me attention at school, I'd be like, I'm in love. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of emotional regulation. I was a bit all over the place. I did have some common sense, and I had a goal. I was a goal oriented person. But hindsight's 2020, and every kid doesn't have control of their emotions either.
Right.
Uh, but I think that if I had kids, I don't have children, but I would probably impress upon them that you need to understand what you're feeling before you can react to something appropriately. So
That's great.
I think emotional intelligence is something that is just vastly important and overlooked in a lot of cases.
And lacking in the general populace these days.
Yeah, it's just uh, it's uh, it's a hard thing for every human in life. You're learning the entire time.
Yeah.
Um, but mastering your emotions, I would say, will serve you well if you can do it. And I
Stoicism.
some amount of stoicism is
Yeah.
required in this business, Robbie. Yes.
Yeah. Hurdle eat you alive, right? And we're in a business that has changed so much that what even is the business nowadays, you know? I mean, it's kind of a free for all. It's kind of you can put yourself out everywhere and in a way that you could never before. And yet it's too easy to get lost in the clutter and, how to stand out and how to cut through. And, it's a wild time, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. I mean, we're
Well,
all going through it.
yeah, but for those of us that are compelled beyond all compulsion to just keep making music, that's what we do. And at the end of the day, that's, our catalog is there as, like you said, when we started talking, a record of everything you've done. Let the music do the talking. Joe Perry said it best. When people go back to listen to Hendrix, they can listen to his whole catalog and it's all there and available. So everything that you put out gives people another chance to hear another chapter, to understand you, see other sides and facets, or explore you more. And I appreciate that you're putting out music and following your sense of curiosity with it and not, I mean, you've never been a trend guy, but I love that you're just still exploring your own curiosity. And I'm loving the music you make. So I hope you still continue. Know that there's people out there that really love hearing it.
Well, thank you, and I feel the same about you. You've always forged your own path,
You know it.
and I respect I respect that. Go off into the unknown, do your thing,
Yep.
uh, and just let those chips fall where they may. And
Yeah.
you just operate from a place of love. You're going to be good.
That's it. And you got to like what you do. There's nothing worse than hearing a record you made and being like, it could have been, it should have been. I wish the producer, So I've been producing my own stuff recently, and I just love what it is because I go back and listen to it, and it's exactly how I wanted it. And
Yeah,
for better for worse, that's where my love went. That's where all the chips are on the table, and and then here comes something next.
right. It's like developing a photograph. Like I like to work in my own dark room, and if the
Yeah,
photograph comes out a little overexposed, that's fine. If it's whatever it is,
yeah,
but you can go back and you go, well, I could have did that better, but the meat of everything is still there. The song's there, the feeling, the intent. So
yeah.
try not to be so hard on myself anymore like that. I work really hard at it,
Yeah,
and I'm happy with the results, and I hope to keep getting better as I go along.
I love that. Well, maybe you and I'll make some music in the not too distant future. Have a jam or write a song or something.
Yeah, we'll
You never
keep
know.
that piano in tune.
I will. Yeah, I'm gonna make a nice. We'll do like a piano ballad where your voice can really shine. We'll make something that's unlike anything you've done before. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I'd be into that.
Yeah, why not?
Experiment a bit.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I'll let you know when this is going to be up. But let's keep in touch and have a great 2026.
You too, my friend. Pleasure talking to you.
You too. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Okay, peace
Later.
out.
Peace out.